Okay, good evening in this not easy day. We'll dedicate the shiur to Nishmot Kol Chayalei Tzahal and to the Ptsuim and the hostages. We need so much bracha. And even I thought that that today usually we read Shnai Mikra ve'Chat Targum. So there is this famous gula by Rav Menachem Mendel Mirimanov saying that on Tuesday on Parashat Beshalach that you read the portion of the parasha of the Mann. It's a skula for Parnasa, so even Am Yisrael Kulo needs a skula, and we're still on a Tuesday, not according to the Jewish calendar, but according to the Gregorian one. So Ezrat Hashem will daven for Parnasa to all of Am Yisrael. Today. And now we'll go to the Parsha itself. We are talking today about the Parashat Mann. We have very interesting parashot, Parashat Kriyat Yamsuf, Parashat Mann, and Parashat Vayavo Amalek. I would like to share a screen with you. And the first thing I would like to discuss is its location, because at one glance, you might say that Am Yisrael goes out of Egypt at Perek Yud Gimel, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells them, Kadesh li kol bechor, etc., talking about the Yetziah. Afterwards, we have the regret of Paro. Paro regrets letting Am Yisrael get out, and then he chases after them and finds them on Yam Suf. And then everything happens. And after finishing with Egypt, totally with everything, then we have for the first time the problem of the food. Okay, till now we didn't have any problem of the food because they had the matzot from Mitzrayim, as Mikra itself says explicitly. Okay, they had the matzot asher hotziu miMitzrayim, therefore they never complained about the food. Now it's time, and they don't know what the future is. So now it's the time for the Mann. That's a pshat. That's for sure the truth. Okay, but from another perspective, I would like to discuss why the Mann comes just now in Perek Tetzayin after Perek Tetvav with all the finishing of Kriyat Yamsuf. So let's read. ויסעו מאלים, ויבואו כל הדת בני ישראל אל מדבר סין, אשר בין עינים ובין סיני, ב15 יום לחודש השני, אוקיי, ט"ו באב, לצאתם מארץ מצרים. So we have a month, okay, not a week. We have a month. They finished with the food. וילונו כל הדת בני ישראל אל משה ועל אהרון במדבר, ואמרו עליהם בני ישראל, מי ייתן מותנו ביד השם בארץ מצרים בשבתנו על סיר הבשר. We wish we had died in Egypt, ואוכלנו לחם לשובע, כי הוצאתם אותנו אל המדבר הזה להמית את כל הקהל הזה ברעב. So I think it's a first real complaint about food, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very indifferent. He doesn't find any bad thing in the complaint, and it's natural because it's just the first time. An educator can never be angry at the first time. ויאמר השם אל משה, no problem. הנני ממטיר לכם לחם מן השמיים, okay? ממטיר, like water, לחם מן השמיים. We have to understand why it's called לחם. We'll speak in a minute. ויצא העם ולקטו דבר יום ביומו, למען אנסינו ילך בתורתי אם לא. So first of all, it's not called man. It's called now bread. Lechem. Okay? And what is its purpose? It's very explicit. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells them from the very beginning. ויצא העם ולקטו דבר יום ביומו, למען אנסינו הילך בתורתי אם לא. So that's the first thing what we can makes a linkage between Yetziat Mitzrayim and the Mann. Because you know that a slave doesn't have time. Slave doesn't care. He doesn't know what the day is, what the night is. He just knows that he has work and work. Work. I'm talking not about Filipino or Indian nowadays. They know very well they're just workers, okay? They're not slaves, okay? But if you work 7 days, 24 hours a day with no yemei chofesh, nothing at all, not in the modern world, that's a real slavery. People who came from the United States remember maybe from the older generation that they had to work on Shabbat. They couldn't take a day off because they were fired. 100 years ago, America was like that. And that's a real slavery. Okay, nowadays, some people do it with computers. They have to stay, or law, they have to stay hours and hours, but that's different. Okay, so the slave doesn't have time. And the first thing that of chirut, of independency, is that you have your own time. Okay, and that's you see a chodesh hazeh lachem, the first creation, the first mitzvah, which is given to Am Yisrael, even before the Yetziat Mitzrayim, 2 weeks before the Yetziah, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates time for you. A chodesh hazeh, the time, taking time, making time, creating time, counting time for you. And Rav Hutner says something very nice, that you know that the whole idea of the matzah is that you don't machmitz, okay? That you don't make you don't wait 18 minutes till it gets lost. Yeah, it gets swollen and then it's forbidden. So Rav Hutner says that the very beginning of Am Yisrael is without time, because the matzah symbolizing that you don't wait, that you do something bezrizut, that you do something without time, okay? And you can see it from both sides. You can see the freedom by that you do it bezrizut, you get out of Mitzrayim without time, maher. They let you go and tell you, we don't have time, just take the food and get out. But you can say that that was a slavery, okay? The slavery, the last minute of the slavery is that you don't have time, that you don't have time to wait to see the bread or the food in the oven and wait and know that 18 minutes I have because I am a free man. Okay, so the beginning of Am Yisrael is creating time. By being given the man, according to the first very beginning, very big opening posuk of the Parsha, what is an Nisoyan? Calculating the time, because you know that you have a portion, and now the Torah tells you the Nisoyan is not that you not to add or not to take less. The Nisoyan is written in pasuk A, והיה ביום השישי, והכינו את אשר יביאו, והיה משנה על אשר ילקטו יום יום. So you have to know each day that this is my portion, and tomorrow this is my portion. You have to calculate your time. You have to know, okay, now I count the unit in 7 units. I'm in the 6th unit, so I take twice because it's Friday. I'm in 7th unit, I don't pick it up. And that's before everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will talk later, that אסור לקחת יותר מדי, אסור לקחת פחות מדי. The first Nisoyan is just לתכנן, okay? To make a program, to know that you have time, you're a free person, you have time, you have to calculate it and you use it wisely. That's the Nisoyan. And so that's a kesher to Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's not just a mikre that in event we find that now they are hungry, therefore they ask for food. No, it's mamash kashur to Yetziat Mitzrayim. Let's go on. והיה ביום השישי והכינו את אשר יביאו, והיה המשנה על אשר ילקטו יום יום. Second thing I would like to talk about. ויאמר משה ואהרון אל כל בני ישראל, ערב וידעתם כי השם הוציא אתכם מארץ מצרים, ובוקר וריתם את כבוד השם בשומעו את תלונותיכם על השם, ואנחנו מה? כי תלינו עלינו. So he gives them an introduction. What I'm talking now is separated into two parts. You have Erev and you have Boker. Erev, you'll know that Hashem has taken you out of Egypt, and in the morning you know that Hashem cares for you. Why? ויאמר משה, פסוק ח' בתת השם לכם בערב בשר לאכול ולחם בבוקר לסבוע. בשמוע השם את תלונותיכם אשר אתם מלינים עליו, ואנחנו מה? לא עלינו תלונותיכם כי על השם. So it's very interesting because we're in the middle of Parshat Mann. We're talking about the food, the lechem. Who spoke about basar? We just spoke about giving them bread or food, whatever, we'll see in a minute. But why did he talk about basar? Why did he make the separation between Erev and Boker? It's very clear that Moshe tells them like that. You have two things that you have to eat, like everybody does. Everybody needs some basic food. But food in every culture, in every society, is used not just to feed the people, but to make a tarbut, a culture. You eat with candles, or you eat with light, or you eat with napkins, nice dishes. You eat food like this, you make a shape like this. You would like food not to be just components of your body, because then you can just inject it to your blood, to your vein, but you want to enjoy food. And I've heard very nicely from Rav Wishlitsky, Zichron Tzadik Livracha, once, that he says that we have the vegetables and we have the fruits. The vegetables are given to feed us, to feed Bnei Adam. The fruits usually are very sweet. And we find something very interesting. If you eat a new, let's say, some new fruit, what do you say? Shechian. If you eat a new vegetables you haven't eaten, you don't say Shechian. Why? Why? If you eat just a new, I don't know what you don't have vegetables that you can eat that you haven't eaten. But okay, let's say that you find a new kind of whatever, or a new kind of tomato, okay, and you won't say shechian on this. It's mefoirash. I can show you in Aruch HaShulchan in Hilchot Brachot. What's the difference? So he said like this: that vegetables are given to feed people. Fruits, because of the sugar, because it's tasty, because it looks much nicer, is for your enjoy, for ana'ah. Usually when you look at the tomato, you look at the cucumber, if they're very nice, you don't enjoy because they're just like basic food. But when looking at a nice orange, a nice pomegranate, or something very nice, you enjoy how it looks like. You enjoy how it's a specialty. Therefore, he says, when saying bracha of Shechianu, you say just of the extra. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives you a lot of things you need, but you don't thank Hashem for something you need. You don't say bracha in the air you consume. You don't say bracha. It's not so clear that you have to say bracha in water. Okay, we do say, but you don't. It's not. It wasn't clear in the Gemara that you say on water. Why? Because we need it to live. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, if he wants us to live, he should give us water. He should give us air. But if you enjoy something, then you say a bracha, and that's what Moshe tells them here. I would give you definitely every morning the portion of bread, because the bread is used to maintain your body. You need some calories, so you'll eat your 2,000 calories a day by eating bread. Nowadays, we know that it's not healthy, but yes, bread used to be something lisboa. There's something you eat for good. You must eat it, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises you each day you have your own. You get out of your door if you're a normal person, not Rasha. You take the portion that you have, and it waits for you. I promise to give you each day your portion, unless it's Shabbat. But בערב the basar, which is more delicious, which is more unique, which is more special, which gives you the enjoyment, okay, then you don't eat it בבוקר, you eat it just בין הערביים. And what does בין הערביים symbolize? בין הערביים, as we know, it's the doomed day, between light and night, when you are perplexed by, is it, I can see because it still has some light, but I cannot see well because it's mamash towards the night. And therefore, Kadosh Baruch Hu tells you, then on time that you are not sure, like now in a war, you don't know what the future would bring you. You don't know what would be tomorrow. You don't know what the news be. But then I won't give you what you need. That'll give you in the morning. You can trust me that in the morning you just get up, you have what you need to live. All the extras, all the fruits, all the shechianu, all the meat, all the basar, then I'll give you, but I won't give you for sure in the day and not in the night. You'll be given it in between the time, בין השמשות, כן? בין הערביים, and therefore you'll have to be not sure if you are given it or not all the day. So the Mann has two matarot, two goals. One thing to ensure that you're like a human being is fed, you are fed by a Kadosh Baruch Hu. He gives you in the morning when you get up your portion of fruit of the day. That's a lechem. But the basar, the second part of the man, is used to give you extra, to give you the goal of life. You don't live just to live, you live for matarot, for targets, for things that you have to gain. For the things you have to gain, you'll have to work. Then you cannot be sure that the Kadosh Baruch Hu would give you. Then it's ben ha'arbaim, and we'll see in a minute what does it mean to work. So now I want to discuss the very word lechem that the man is called. As we saw, till now, we haven't seen even one time the word man. HaKadosh Baruch Hu describes it just as lechem min hashamayim, okay? ויצא העם ולקטו דבר יום ביומו, and here again, ולחם בבוקר לסבוע. So what does lechem mean? Why is the man called lechem? So Ibn Ezra says on this psuki that lechem is not as we translate it bread, okay? Because I said before the lechem, unlike basar, lechem is bread, okay? It gives you the gluten, it gives you the calories for living. But Ibn Ezra says no. Lechem means food, ma'achal, in the Torah. He says that milchama, what does it mean milchama in Hebrew? A war. What does it mean milchama? So Ibn Ezra says it's the food of the sword. Okay? The milchama gives the sword its food. That's why it's called milchama. So according to the Ibn Ezra, it's very clear that the Torah basically talks about the whole food of the person. And we have to say that here, the differentiation between basar and lechem, then the Torah talks about meat and bread. But here, הנני ממטיר לכם לחם מן השמיים, it's generally speaking, I give you food. Okay, let's say Ibn Ezra. Ramban says that basically, usually, generally speaking, they used to לאפות את המן. They used to use it as a bread, and therefore it was called bread, because most of the people, you know, that let's say that we have now man, that we have all the taste you want in your life. So it's like a tofu, okay? You have some material, and everything you put with it gets its taste. So what would you like to do? So my kids would make it into a pizza or chips. That's what they like. Older people would turn it into, I don't know, a steak or something maturer than a pizza. But most of the people used it as bread, as a food. And therefore, according to Ramban, it's called a bread. But I would like to bring another third explanation. Why is it called bread? As we said, the man was just a raw material. You could do with it whatever you wanted. And it's very clear that Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, okay, את אשר תופו, later on, ויאמר עליהם הוא אשר דיבר השם, שבתון, שבת קודש להשם מחר, את אשר תופו אפו, ואת אשר תבשלו בשלו, ואת כל העודף הניחו לכם למשמרת עד הבוקר. Why does Moshe assume that they would either bake or cake? Why? It's a raw material, okay? They don't have to bake it. They don't have to cook it. If they think about it that it's an ice cream, it's an ice cream. If they think about it that it's a chunt, it would be a chunt. They don't have to cook it. So why does he say, את אשר תופו אפו ואת אשר תבשלו בשלו? So the pshat is that he tells them, even if you want to cook or you want to bake, don't do it on Shabbos, do it on Friday, okay? But the רצף, the fluency of the psukim, ויאמר עליהם, הוא אשר דיבר השם, שבתון, שבת קודש להשם מחר, את אשר תופו אפו ואת אשר תבשלו בשלו. It seems, or it sounds as if they tried to take the raw material and make something with it. That it was the way that they did. Even if they wanted chunt, instead of saying be it a chunt, they cooked it, or they baked it, or fried it, or whatever. They did pe'ulot, they did actions with the food. They didn't want it to stay like a raw material. And here I come to the second explanation why it's related to Yetziat Mitzrayim. Because you know that Dor HaMidbar, the generation of the desert, is called Dor Ochlei Haman. Okay? Usually a lot of Balei HaMusar talks about the differences between living in the desert and living in Eretz Israel, and when coming to Parashat Shlach, Sefer Bamidbar, and trying to understand the chet, the sin of the Meraglim, why they didn't want, why did they lie, why they didn't want to see the advantage of Eretz Israel. So most of the Meforshim explain, the modern Meforshim explain, that they were afraid of getting into Eretz Israel, because it's very, very easy to live in the desert. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you your food, you don't do anything, you don't have authority, you don't have soldiers, you don't have to fight, HaKadosh Baruch Hu fights for you, Milchemet Amalek, and everything is done for you. Getting into Eretz Israel requires you economy, requires you to decide what you do with your money, what you do with your budget, what you do with your soldiers, with your borders, etc. And it requires you to act, and then you have to decide, well, how the צורת המשטר be, okay? Whether you want a democracy or you want something else, or you have to decide, you have to fight, the population has to make elections, etc. So Dor HaMidbar, the generation of the desert, is usually called Ochlei Mann. We usually call them the lazy people, okay? Ochlei Mann, that they ate the man from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want them to be like this, because they went out of Egypt. They didn't do anything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made all the makot of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Afterwards, the Parot chased after them, and they have come in front of Yam Suf. They cry to Moshe. Moshe says, don't do anything. Ma titzak elai, daber el bnei Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, daber el bnei Yisrael, ve'isau. En lahem ela lisua, as Rashi explains. They don't have to do anything. Just, I'll make everything. You won't see the Egyptians anymore because I make them a coat. I would put them in the water. That's it. But it has to be finished. Now we're about to start the 40 years. Now we don't know that it will be 40 years, but we have to start the period of time of the desert. And in the period of time of the desert, it will be a long time. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, cannot do everything for you. It's too much. I cannot take care of you like a baby. כאשר יישא האומן את היונק, Moshe would say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's too much. You have to undertake responsibility to decide that you are the master of yourself. You have to start doing anything, okay? Even in the desert. So what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu says? I don't want you to be Ochlei Man, because by eating the man, you would feel like that you are in the desert, you don't do anything, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes care of you, etc. So therefore, that's why Moshe tells them it would be lechem. You would cook it, you would bake it, you would make actions, human actions, in order to help HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, the man wouldn't be just for lazy people, as it might be. It would be a little bit less. It's still much better than earning your money and making all the food, but it's still much, much less when you are a partner of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, it's called lechem. Not like Ibn Ezra that says it's the general description of the food, and not like the Ramban that says that usually it has the shape of a bread. Lechem symbolizes the shutafut, the partnership of the human being with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because in lechem we have a lot of actions. We have to plow, we have to grind it, we have to knead it, to knead the dough, we have to put it in the oven, we have 11 and even more actions that will help HaKadosh Baruch Hu in making the bread. And therefore, even in the man itself, it's a tahalich, it's a process that Am Yisrael have to go through after getting out of Egypt. They are no longer can be lazy. They are no longer can trust just HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They have to start being active. And that's exactly what we do in Pesach and then Sfirat HaOmer, right? Because in Pesach, as we said before, everything is in a rush. Maher, chipazon, matzot, it belongs to what you did in Yetziat Mitzrayim. We didn't do anything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it all. But then we have a count, we have a sphira of 50 days till Chag Shavuot that we have to as Balei HaMusar says, that we have to gain all the ma'alot that we have come through on Pesach, but they just came and disappear immediately because we didn't work on them. Then we have to prepare ourselves to Shavuot and to inhale, to get them, to receive all the ma'alot slowly and step by step. We have to prepare ourselves to be a kli to get them. And therefore, that's what the man is used for, and that's why it comes after Yetziat Mitzrayim. Till now, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I've done everything. But from now on, it won't be called just man, it would be called lechem, that you make a lot of peulot. Rav Soloveitchik once asked, why do we find that the best bracha, we have a lot of brachot, we have shakol, we have borot pri adama, borot pri ha'etz, but the best one is Birkat HaMazon, the only one who is D'oraita. Why is it on the food, he asked. We know that what is better, Perot ha'etz or Perot ha'adama? We answered before, Perot ha'etz, right? What is the better bracha? Etz or adama? Etz, right? If you have pri ha'etz and pri adama, and you like them both, what do you have to say a bracha on first? On pri ha'etz, okay? Chita is not a pri ha'etz. Chita of Adam HaRishon was maybe Ilan, but Chita is a pri adama. So ask Rav Soloveitchik, why is it Chita? Why was the Chita, the wheat zoiche, to the best broche, and not, why didn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu take, it's related to Tu B'Shvat, why didn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu take Shivat HaMinim? He could have taken the pomegranate or something else, or the date, and decide that the best bracha would be on a date, or on Rimon. Why did he decide that it's on a wheat, which is from a lower statue of being Pri Adama? So answered Rav Soloveitchik is the same, that Pri Adama is really lower than Pri Ha'etz. That's right, but Lechem has a Maila that the human being helps HaKadosh Baruch Hu in making it. A lot, unlike Pri Ha'etz, that you just pick it up from the tree, it takes a date. Some of you have done it with the Itnadvut in recent months, that you just pick it up from the tree and then you make meiser, whatever, and then you can eat. But with Chita, you have a lot of preparation, and therefore that's the maila of the Chita. I would like to end with another idea. We've gone and talked about the preparing time, that Eved, the slave, doesn't have time, and with man you have to prepare yourself for Shabbos. We have talked about what the bread symbolize and what you do, so should partnership with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I would like to finish with another thing that we have in man. The word man, as I said, is not mentioned before. Okay? At the beginning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks about lechem. ויהי בערב, ותעל הסלב, וכולי וכולי. And just after it appears, ויראו בני ישראל, ויאמרו איש אל אחיו, מן הוא, כי לא ידעו מה הוא, ויאמר עליהם משה, הוא הלחם אשר נתן השם לכם לאוכלה. So it sounds as if, it's very clear, that Bnei Israel created for the first time the word man. It's not, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu never said that I'm giving you man. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you lechem. And then by finding the man, so then Moshe says, yes, what you called now the man, yeah, that's what I've given you before, the bread. What I call the HaKadosh Baruch Hu bread. You call it man. So the man is something from Am Yisrael. Know that there is a, what does it mean, man? Man in Aramaic is me, okay? And it's or ma, okay? Man hu, man dehu, כן? man dehu. זה מי שהוא, okay? זאת אומרת, man, that something that you don't know. You look at this tofu and you don't know what it is. Is it an ice cream? Is it a pizza? Is it a chips? It's okay. So you don't know how to describe it. That's why it's called man. I want to give you another explanation. You know that the author Amos Oz, a very famous author that passed away last year, 2 years ago. He was a very famous Israeli author, and he wrote a book called Story About Love and Darkness. It was turned into a movie in recent years. That's maybe his best story. And he talks about Yerushalayim and all the life of him himself. It's a kind of autobiography of himself. And he speaks about very nice things about Yerushalayim, about a lot of authors in old Yerushalayim. And then he talks about the night of the Atzba'ah in the United Nations, the night that Medinat Israel, the country of Israel, was elected in the United Nations, okay? That they had to decide whether they permit us to make a new state, okay? And somebody told me, he writes, and it's very nice, he says that it was a big radios by this, and not everybody had a radio in the 47. So in the whole neighborhood of, it was called Kerem Avraham, it's next to Bar Ilan Street. So there was 2-3 radios outside, and he describes nicely how everybody was set or stood outside next to there was a big silence, and they said United States, yes, Australia, yes, okay, and all that, but till it was clear that the Medinat Israel is founded. And then he describes it very nicely how there was such a big excitement, a silent of everybody, and then a big excitement. But somebody told me that he didn't read the book, but he listened to some, nowadays when you make a kosher or fitness or something, you can have books that somebody reads it. And he listened to somebody reading Amos Oz story or about love and darkness. And he came to this chapter, and the reader said nicely, Australia, yes. United States, yes. Meaning to say, when you read, it's very dry, because you know the fact that at the end there was a majority, and okay, most of the nation said yes, and 12 I think said no, and that's it. But when you read it and listen to it, it surprises you. Each time that Australia, you don't know, you have a second of silence, you don't know what they'll decide, and it's crucial for you. Okay, well, whether they'll decide no, so maybe we won't have the majority. So it surprises you, and he says yes or no or disappointing. So the same thing happens with the man. The man is something you don't know how to relate. You look at it each time, and each time, even if you ate it yesterday, it's something new for you. It's something that surprises you each time you look at it. So you see, Mann, what's going on with this? And you know that it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the question comes from you, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu described it as a lechem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees it maybe as a food, or maybe as a combination of partnership, as we said before. That's all true. But the only one to ask is a human being. You would ask, Man hu? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you an opportunity to meet him. If you look at the chomer gelem, it's a substance, like something created, it's just a food, it's just lechem. Okay, I know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu delivered to me. He sent me some calories of life. Okay, I'll eat it and I'll be healthy, and I'll be able to maintain and to go through the day. But once you don't know how to describe it, and you have the surprise, you look each time in it and asks, what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu ask me for the day? Manhu. Each time it's, what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from me today? So it's not something that you pick up and eat and leave. It's some mission, some new mission HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you each day to each and every of you. And it's something that you, as Am Yisrael, asks, what is it? Would it be yes? Would it be no? Would it be this? Would HaKadosh Baruch Hu expect me to do with this or that? And it doesn't matter what do you decide at the end, but you have the one moment of thinking what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted from you. So we saw three, to sum up, we saw three issues with the man. The first one is that it comes after Yetziat Mitzrayim, okay? So after being free, you have to start calculating your time. And the best stress out of the gesh of the man is that you won't have it on Shabbos. You have to pick it twice on Friday and just to count the days. That's the first issue. Secondly, we discussed what the word lechem means. We saw Ibn Ezra and Ramban, and we suggested that maybe the lechem is related to the ma'ala of the bread, meaning to say that you are a partner of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you don't just trust him by sending you the material. The third issue that we saw at the end is the question man that comes from the human being, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you just lechem, just gives you bread. He sends you to a mission. He knows exactly what you have to do, but you don't know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects from you. That's what's interesting in it. And then each day you might find a new taste, a new taste of life in your mission of the day, in the present being given from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We will be all zoche to a lot of presents from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a lot of parnasa, a lot of parnasa to Am Yisrael, and a lot of success in the mission that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent us from Simchat Torah.
Yeshikar.
Nice.
Very nice.
Thanks a lot.
Toda.
So what. Good night.